Hello, good morning. Today we are going to discuss about innate immune response or what is innate immunity. Immunology and immunity. What is immunology? You know that is the study of defense mechanism which is exerted by the body to recognize the non-self or foreign matter. And what is immunity? Immunity is the resistance that is exhibited by the host towards any injury caused by microorganism or their products. That means any antigen. And this is the complete response of body against any foreign agent. And this is the physiological response against foreign body or any antigen. Immunity, you know, this is of two types, innate immunity and acquired immunity. Innate immunity is natural and it is non-specific. And acquired immunity is adaptive and it is very specific. Now, innate immunity, that is inherited resistance to the infection, and that is by and shown by any individual. An individual possesses it by his or her genetic or constitutional makeup. It is the first line of defense against any infection. It has no memory. Its activity can be down regulated or up regulated. And it operates at three levels, that is species immunity, racial immunity and individual immunity. Species immunity, you know, humans suffer from mumps but animals don't. Racial immunity, Algerian race of sheep is resistant to anthrax but ordinary sheep is susceptible to anthrax. In the same way, sickling of RBC is prevalent in Africa but not so in other continents. Diet, habits, environment, genetic makeup, socioeconomic lifestyle, all of them play a very important role in the racial immunity. Individual immunity, you see during outbreak of an infectious disease, that is the pandemic, some individuals would completely escape and some might develop the disease, such as right now it is happening during the corona pandemic. Some are having disease and they are succumbing to the disease, and some are having not at all or having only mild type of the disease. Innate immunity and adaptive immunity, the effector cells are innate immunity rapid response, adaptive immunity slow response. The effector cells are macrophages, natural killer cells, dendritic cells, neutrophil, eosinophil, basophil, you know. And in adaptive immunity, the B lymphocytes and T lymphocytes. B lymphocytes produces antibodies and T lymphocytes produces cytotoxic cells. The T cells and natural killer T cells are common in the both type of the immunity. What is the mechanism of innate immunity? How it confer the innate immunity? Skin, mucous membrane, body fluids, antibacterial substances in blood and tissue, cellular factors, inflammation and fever. All of them confer the innate immunity or mechanism producing innate immunity. We can now categorize them in anatomical barrier, cell and soluble proteins. Anatomical barrier, physical barrier and chemical barrier. Skin, physical barrier and chemical barrier are acidic pH and antimicrobial proteins and peptides in the secretion of the sebum and sweat or tears and other secretions, they act as a chemical barriers. Now cell, phagocytic cells, dendritic cells, all they engulf the bacteria or pathogen and kill them or bind the cell activation, and finally activation of the B cell and T cells, and the antibodies are produced and T cell cytotoxic cells are produced. And soluble proteins are produced by these cells. These are complement, cytokines, chemokines, and they respond. So yeah, they either eliminate the pathogens or produces inflammation or produces systemic effects, that is the fever. See this, there are certain bacteria, viruses and fungi are always ready to invade our body. And what are the physical barriers? Skin, tears, ear wax, mucus, urine, stomach acid. Sometimes some are prevented, but some of them are very persistent and pertinent, and they come around and cross the barrier. Now what happens? Innate immune cells do the function, and they act like a garbage man and target anything which is foreign. And sometimes they can't cope the infection, so they need a backup service, and now they give a signal to adaptive immune system for the help. Skin, keratin, mechanical barrier, acidic pH, fatty acids and salt present in sweat and sebum. You know, in burn cases, what happens? There is loss of skin in a very large area, and that makes the patient very susceptible to any type of infection. Mucous membrane, mucous protective barrier, lysozyme, bactericidal, present in all the secretions and kills bacteria. Lysozyme is the endogenous antibiotic and penicillin is exogenous antibiotic, and the person Alexander Fleming is to be credited for both of them. He discovered lysozyme and he discovered penicillin too. Body fluids, skin secretion, sweat and sebum, tears, lysozyme, gastric juice, hydrochloric acid, semen, spermine, all of them exert bactericidal effects and prevent the infection. Antibacterial substances in blood and tissues like proteins, peptides, complements, properdine, interferons, beta-lysine, leucines, plaquenins, lactic acid in the muscles, lactoperoxidase in milk, all of them act as a bacterial substance, antibacterial substances in our body. And there are some cellular factors which perform phagocytosis, and these are phagocytic cells. These are macrophages and microphages. Macrophages, polymorphonuclear leukocytes, that includes neutrophils and eosinophils, and macrophages, that are mainly monocytes, and other are reticuloendothelial cells. Natural killer cells, lymphocytes, and they secrete cytotoxin and destroy the infected cells. Inflammation, pathogen enter the cell causing injury, irritation, and results in non-specific protective tissue response, that is inflammation, where large number of leukocytes are released. Fever, again it is a protective mechanism. Raised temperature produces adverse effects on the microbes. Now adaptive and acquired immunity. This is the second life of immune response, and resistance to infection a person acquires during his or her life, and which is very specific for a particular disease. You know, it is of two types: humoral immunity produces antibodies, and cell mediated immunity, which is mediated by T lymphocyte or cytotoxic cells. The rabbit, it is innate immunity. The tortoise, it is adaptive immunity. It is slow but performs its duty very well. Features of adaptive